My name is Sarah Nelson, and I'm a school counselor at a middle school, and this is my 4th year. Entering my first year as a school counselor, I quickly realized there was so much I still didn't know. And it's the type of job that you will always be learning. It doesn't matter how long I'm in this field. I know I'm going to be a lifelong learner, and I kind of like that, honestly. Like, I would never want to have a job where I'm just stagnant. Like, I do want to keep learning. Every day can be different, which is ironic because you have to be a flexible person for this job, and I'm not always super flexible, but somehow it works and I love it. But really, like, you can have your whole day planned and you never know what's going to happen. I'd say the biggest challenge of being a school counselor is you care a lot for your students, and in this role you are hearing a lot of really heavy things. So it's fairly common for school counselors to experience what's called secondary trauma, because you're hearing about other people's trauma on a pretty regular basis, and you're kind of just like absorbing that, whether you know it or not. Like, you are absorbing that information. It's just hard because you want to make everything better, and you always can't do that. And all I can do is just really provide some support, maybe brainstorm some ideas or give some tools, but can't always, fix everything. So the American School Counselor Association recommends that for every school counselor, there's 250 students on their caseload. And what I currently have right now this school year is a caseload size of about 360 students, but it has been as high as 420 at the school that I'm at now, which is pretty high. But honestly, when you look at like nationwide data, there are some schools that are close to 1,000 students for one counselor, which is insane. So really, when I think of like what I need as a school counselor and what would help me to be the most effective school counselor, is it always comes down to time. Like, it just doesn't feel like I have enough time. And if I had a smaller caseload size, some of that time would be earned back because I would have less students to be managing. Some of the things that we are dealing with this year is unlike any other year. Like, our needs of our students are more extreme than we've ever seen them. I am doing probably double the amount of suicide screenings than I was before the pandemic. Self-harm has increased for sure. And just like basic social skills, a lot of my students are lacking on just how to communicate with each other, how to problem solve, conflict resolution. I pretty regularly enter my school building, my day of work, with the thought of there might be a school shooter today. And we actually have had this year alone have had two, now that I'm aware of, school shooting threats, and it's really hard. It's like, you want to feel safe at work. I want my students to feel safe. And after what just happened in Texas, we get an email of how to talk to students and children about school shootings, and one of the first bullet points was, reminding our students that they're safe. But it kind of feels like a lie. Like, it honestly, and I did have to talk to students the next day after the shooting. It feels wrong to be like, you're safe, it won't happen here, because we don't know that. And they know that. And if I were to tell them that, they would know that I'm kind of BSing them. Like, so it's really hard. Obviously, when you hear of things like that, you put yourself in those shoes. And, I broke down crying that night when I found out. I woke up the next morning, I was crying, I was on my way to work. Like, it's really hard to process that. It's no secret the public education system in our country it's not thriving. It's not great. It is, I believe it's extremely underfunded. It's, there's a lot of misinformation, and it can be really hard to be an educator in our political climate and in this country right now. Being able to just be a listening ear for these kids, be someone that believes in them, or that wants to hear them out, or kind of work through those tough times is really special. But when you have those little moments where a kid that you've just been working with for a long time, all of a sudden there's just like a change, it's a really special moment. But even just the little ones, like after we talk and they just leave, they're like, thank you so much for talking, like this means a lot. I'm like, okay, this is why I do this, because like I want my students to just feel heard and like they have someone they can rely on.